Alright, what's up guys? So let me just share the link to the stream first before we go like official and all. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you didn't get caught up in the whole shorting at 6,600, and then after that obviously a lot of people got liquidated, especially if you were intending to short. The market movement actually came slightly earlier. In fact, right now it's probably not even the 23rd in the US, right? It's probably 11:23 p.m. or on the 22nd. But the SEC did a triple kill. But before we go into that, let's just very quickly share the stream first, or at least share the link to the stream. Okay, what's up, RJ? How's everyone doing today? What's up, Frank? Good seeing you. Okay. All right, so guys, feel free to share the link to the stream as well. Today we'll be covering just a bit of breaking news. Well, I would say it's breaking for us here in Singapore, especially when we saw the SEC actually do a triple rejection, right? Well, nothing new. Not that we were expecting that it would go through, but I think it's good to kind of dive deeper into the article. So let me just cover that very quickly. Alright, so if you're wondering where do I get all my news from, or how do I just very simply get a very quick digest, we have a Telegram group called CG Market Watch, right? So it's different from the main CG or Crypto Grinders chat channel. So if let's say you are someone who is just going about your day really busy, you don't have time to go through all the various websites, CG Market Watch Telegram group will just very quickly pull out the most significant pieces of news for you to have a very quick digest for the day. So yeah, you can go and check out the links in the description below, and yeah, hope to see you. Hope that you will find that this Telegram group will be more useful. Yep. Okay. So very quickly now, we will go into firstly two pieces of news. One is US rejects 3 ETFs, ProShares, Direction, and Granite Shares. And then after that, we will go into China officially bans crypto-related activities. Nothing much actually, if you think about it. But I am surprised that the market didn't sell down, because the news came out earlier than expected. And I'm surprised that Bitcoin price isn't at 5,008 by now. So it's like I said, the market is very, very weird. So okay, but a key paragraph that kind of caught my attention is, okay, the commission is disapproving this proposed rule change because, as discussed below, the exchange has not met its burden under the Exchange Act and the commission's rule of practice to demonstrate that its proposal is consistent with the requirements of the Exchange Act section. Okay, so I think this is kind of like, if you are someone who loves to read deeper, right, I think going and checking out what the Exchange Act section 6B clause 5 actually means. In particular, the requirement that the National Securities Exchanges rule be designed to prevent fraudulent and manipulative acts and practices. Okay, I guess based on what I understand, right, is that if you create a ETF and you are obviously mirroring or following or getting the price from somewhere, where is that price being pulled from? So at the moment, right, if you notice, where are the exchanges and who owns these exchanges? They're all privately owned. There's no exchange that is currently owned or run by the existing legacy system. Okay, so perhaps, and only when BAKKT is up, right, because that is basically run by the NYSE, I think, no, not NYSE, ICE, right? The ICE, and then it's the NYSE, they own the exchanges. So eventually, if they create the bulk trading platform, then perhaps they can pull data from there. Then, everyone will reference to that. Then from then, the SEC will perhaps be a little bit more willing to allow these ETFs to go through. But for now, I think it's just a game of getting it proposed. That means you just put up the proposal and see what the SEC does, because it's probably a turn-based thing. So it's not like the moment you put it up there and then they'll immediately look at your proposal. It probably doesn't work that way. It probably takes a matter of months, because there are more and more people, or more and more hedge funds or more hedge funds or institutions that are wanting to create a Bitcoin ETF. So it's not just and each proposal definitely costs money, guys. So it's just a matter of how many times do I keep I keep retweaking and being compliant, Okay, so this is kind of like more or less what it is. And then you can see for the fact that there are people who are tweeting about it, or the SEC has rejected all of the pending derivative-backed Bitcoin ETF proposals from ProShares, Granite Shares, and Direction. I expected the ProShares rejection this week, but final decisions on Granite Shares and Direction weren't due until September the 15th and 21st. So Jake Chavinsky, right? He kind of put that. So surprisingly, the two later ones, which is Direction and Granite Shares, were supposed to be 5th September, right? So now you're having everything just like shit. I'm gonna just reject in bulk, and the market is it didn't really react much. I guess everyone was expecting it, and if you were lucky enough that you decided to of course, if Bitmex was up, you decided to short at 6,800, right? That is kind of like the best thing, because in our premier group, we either told people to go short but a small position at 6,820, or we just asked them to tether out. So pretty much those who did that saved money. We did go in at about 6,003 to 6,350. We did do that as well. But yeah, it's just the range, guys. Like I think the range is pretty much still intact. The only thing is why is the Bitcoin price still being propped up? I think that's a very interesting thing. I think a lot of the Bitmex people who were in Bitmex, they kind of like were liquidated, especially those who were short. So they have to buy back the Bitcoin, right? And then after that, the Bitcoin price kind of popped up, especially when Bitmex went online. Then we had Bitmex, of course, having a little bit of downtime as well. But anyway, that's Bitmex. Bitmex always has downtime especially when there's a lot of traffic. Okay, so the next piece of news is China officially banning all crypto-related activities. I think previously there was no clear ban on crypto-related activities. They were still able to go about, and they kind of branded the events as initial token offerings, or they just basically never mentioned anything that it's an ICO. So they were still able to conduct business. They were still able to do their fundraising and whatnot. But I think right now they are clamping down hard, and there were a number of WeChat accounts that have been already taken down. So you see, even WeChat will have to comply at the moment. I would safely say that right now, right, it doesn't matter what China does, because we kind of excluded China for quite a while already. So I wouldn't say that this news is that big a deal. If it happens, if there's something positive that comes out of China, okay, great. But if it doesn't, it doesn't. And also, the market has kind of adapted to the Bitcoin ETF rejections. So clearly, no one really gives a shit, right? Everything is still as per normal. If you're still dollar cost averaging, you will still stick to obviously having a little bit of TA skills, where you understand where you kind of look at the support levels on the FIPS. And you are looking at probably being more conservative and trading the wicks instead of the candle closing or opening. So far, we can safely say that the 6,200 is holding for now. But alts are still dying. The market cap is still very, very thin. Order books are still very, very thin. So market manipulation is still easy. Why do I say that? when you have low volume and low order books, it's easy to create a signal. So those who are kind of still in tune with the signal groups and whatnot, right, you still can see very random altcoin calls, which I find quite cute. So what happens? If you're part of all these groups, it's okay, but don't be too heavily invested into one trade, because there's not going to be much volume. And if you are, say, playing with $10,000 and above, you might not have enough price action at a certain price for you to exit. So that's one danger. So if you're investing less than $1,000, right, it's perfectly fine. You more or less can enter and exit any kind of trade quite confidently. And that is why actually I did the video, I think this week, with regards to going in small. And investing small is one of the best things at the moment, because when you go in small right now, you actually benefit. Wait, give me a second, guys. Let me just shift this. So when you go in small, right, that means you're playing with $100 to about $1,000. You're fine. You know, you're not going to be affected, because firstly, emotionally, I think you're going to be very comfortable with the amount. So here's my strategy for you guys, and what's the main takeaway for this stream. Regardless of whether the ETF is approved or not, let's just focus on buying Bitcoin. And for those who are a little bit more active, you work on determining a range for now. That means once you observe that the market has a fixed range, you can start doing some tether. You can take profit into tether, whether is it a altcoin or Bitcoin, right? And your altcoin should be very little, because right now, right, if you notice, if you check in general consensus in various groups, no one's talking about ICOs anymore. No one's talking about pooling. Everyone's just focusing on acquiring Bitcoin or trading Bitcoin. And maybe if you're someone who is on Bitmex, yes, you can, you know, short alts if you like, but those things, in terms of when it's involving leverage, I strongly encourage less than 10% of your portfolio, so that if things go wrong, like yesterday, right? If you were at 6,006, Bitmex went all the way until 7,100, you would clearly have been liquidated. Unless you were someone who was very conservative, you were having no more than a 5x leverage, you would be safe. But those who are 10x and above in terms of leverage, you got wiped out, right? So you have to kind of understand that even if you wanted to take action, you couldn't log in to take action. You see how disadvantaged we all are if we are using a derivative or a platform that functions so poorly. It's true, the platform functions very poorly. I mean, look man, people will still go back to it, but it comes to the point where, do you want to try to be a little bit smarter? I didn't do anything yesterday. Yesterday, I was actually cleaning my home. You know, I bought a place, and I'm moving furniture in. I didn't do anything. I didn't capitalize on the market. But I'm happy that my premier group, they capitalized on it. They were able to act upon it. I was still sleeping when Andy gave the call to sell Bitcoin at 6,800. So a lot of the group actually tethered out of Bitcoin and went into tethered out of Bitcoin at 6,007 to 6,008, and the price really just went down after that. It was hovering, I think, at 6,650 for a good period of time. Now it's currently at where is it at now? Now it's currently at 6,350, I think, or 6,000, low 6,300. So right now, what can you do? Observe whether the support level of 6,200 holds. Okay, you can set an order there, but if the price really just goes down drastically, there are several levels to take note of: 5,700, 5,800, and 5,005. Okay, it could go down to 5,000, but having a very strict and very conservative dollar cost averaging strategy will serve you well. Right now, when previously when Bitcoin was at 20,000, everyone was saying, I wish that Bitcoin was back to the same old cheap price. Right now, it's really back to the same old cheap price. Capitalize and use that, okay, to your advantage. Your portfolio right now should be very minimal on altcoins and focusing on accumulating very cheap Bitcoins, because come next year, when you know, all these platforms are in place. If bug comes out in November, if bug comes out, if not bug, okay? If bug comes out in November, the Bitcoin price starts to really take off, at least you were consistently accumulating. And from September, so from now it's still August, right? September, October, you still have 2 more months. That means you have anywhere from 9 paychecks to 2 paychecks or whatever, wherever you get paid, either weekly or monthly, to make a move, to make a decision, right? So you have a lot of time, okay? And I think now is the time to just continue to stay invested in the market. We have already lost so much of the market cap, guys, okay? It can go down to 150 billion for all I fucking care. It can go down to $3,000, right? But if it doesn't, then what? Are you going to kick yourself in the ass for not investing? So think about it. Anyway, that's all I have for the live stream today. Have a good evening for the people in the US. Get some rest. And of course, if you're watching from the UK or European timing, yeah, this is just some quick news or insights that we can provide from CG. See you guys in the next stream.